readers. So today I am going to teach you guys how to use the back cover of a text to help you to determine the theme of the text, what we think the theme might be of a text, and to use that back book cover to kind of help us get a summary to understand what this book will be about. So I have some different books. I'm going to choose one today to summarize and to determine the theme. So when I am looking at the back cover of a book, some are a little better than others at summarizing the text for us. Some texts will just give you a little tiny snippet of information about the book. So that's when I really like to kind of go through the first few pages of the book to get an idea of what that book might be about. So sometimes you're just kind of getting like character information. Other times we're getting a nice full summary that gives us a little bit more of a taste of what that book will be about. So the one that I am going to use today is Donut Fix. So this is a Mark Twain nominee for this year. So this is a really good book. If you haven't read it, you should check this out. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our back cover here. Okay, so our learning goal today is I can examine details to determine how the author develops the theme in a text. Okay, so we're going to do this simply by looking at the back cover today of this book. All right, let me see if I can get this a little bit more focused. All right, so on the back cover here, it says, "Can Tris bake his way out of boredom in his new town?" Okay, so this is a really good lead. This kind of hooks us in. Tristan isn't gifted or talented like his sister Janine, and he's always been okay with that because he can make perfect chocolate chip cookies, and he lives in the greatest city in the world. But his life takes a turn for the worse when his parents decide to move to middle of nowhere Petersville, a town with one street and no restaurants. His suspicions about his new town are confirmed when he's tricked into believing the local general store has life-changing chocolate cream donuts, when in fact the owner hasn't made them in years. And so begins the only thing that could make life in Petersville worth living: getting the recipe, making the donuts, and bringing them back to the town through his very own donut stand. But Tristan will soon discover that when starting a business, it helps to be both gifted and talented, and it's possible he's bitten off more than he can chew. All right, so let's take a look at the problem in this text. So every good plot involves kind of a problem and a solution, right? When we looked at Plot Mountain, usually as we're heading towards the climax of our story, by that point, we've had probably a lot of little tiny problems, and then by the climax, we're having one big major problem. So that can sometimes lead into like the theme, like what is the overall takeaway? What is the author's message? What are they trying to tell us? Like what's the lesson that we could learn from that problem? Okay, so let's identify the problem first. So just from reading this, I noticed that first, the first problem is that this town used to have really good chocolate cream donuts, but they're no longer making them. So there's problem number one. So in order to solve that problem, Tristan decides he needs to get the recipe and make the donuts by making a donut stand. Okay, so the problem in this text right now, at this point, is that the town used to have really good chocolate cream donuts, but they are no longer being made. So chocolate cream donuts are discontinued. So no longer being made. All right, so there's problem number one. We kind of almost have like a second problem because they kind of give us this foreshadowing that in an effort Tristan, takes to revive the donuts and make a donut stand of his own. It says, but Tristan will soon discover that when starting a business, it helps to be both gifted and talented. And it's possible he's bitten off more than he can chew. So I'm kind of lifting that line there, and I'm noticing that it says that he will soon discover and that it helps to be both gifted and talented. That tells me that we might be running into a problem where he doesn't know what he's doing. He maybe doesn't have what it takes to pull off his donut stand. Okay, so problem number two is Tristan runs into problems with his donut stand. We don't know what yet. So this second problem is really where I am getting my theme from. So I feel like the author's, the overall author's message, the theme of this, the funny thing is, it actually kind of, I feel like, says it in this very last line. It's possible that he's bitten off more than he can chew, which, by the way, is a really nice pun since he's trying to make donuts, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say for the theme, don't bite off more than you can chew is one possible theme. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Okay. So in other words, don't take on more projects than what you can actually take on. Maybe even also to possibly be careful what you wish for. Maybe be realistic, because it sounds like he's really ambitious. So maybe just be realistic when you're planning projects. You don't want to be overzealous. So overzealous means you are taking on too much. So don't be overzealous. Okay, don't take on too much at one time, because then it could potentially lead to failure. All right, so that is how I took my theme from the problems in this story. Now, sometimes the back cover of a text will give us just a little snapshot of what's going to unfold in the text, but the author doesn't want to give away any major, that we don't want a spoiler alert happening here. So sometimes what we think is going to happen in a text, it actually ends up being a little bit different than what we originally thought based off of the back cover. So sometimes they will kind of give some twists in the story. So this is not a huge giveaway. Okay, so we will have to read to find out. These definitely seem like solid problems based off of the back cover, but we'll have to see if our theme, my prediction of the theme, is correct upon reading the story. All right, so today, readers, try out. I made a 2-column, a T-chart for my problem and theme. See if you can read the back cover of your text and determine the problem and how it relates to the theme, how you can pull the theme out of the problem of your text. So you will want to do this with a fiction book today. You may jot down your problem and theme however you want. I chose a T-chart You may jot it down a different way. If you would like to do a web and put the problem in the middle and pull some themes off of that, that's fine. Or maybe you have a theme in the middle and you have several problems going on off of your back cover, that's fine. If you just want to do some jot dots, that's fine too. However you want to represent your thinking is totally fine today. But go ahead and jot down what you think the problem is and the theme, the author's message or the learning lesson from the back cover of your text. Some of your back covers will be better than others. So if you don't have a good summary on the back cover, you might choose a different text to do this with. All right, readers, off you go.